Hello, I'm Matthew Conway from Hashrocket. We're here at RailsConf 2012 in Austin, Texas. I'm with Ryan Bigg, Aussie, a former Ruby hero, or I guess are you ever a former Ruby hero?
I don't think so. You're always a current Ruby hero. Yeah. Our ranks are added to every year.
So what do you do, Ryan?
I am the author of Rails 3 in Action. I help out on Stack Overflow and IRC. I'm also now known for my work on Spree Commerce, and I generally just do a lot of Rails work because I enjoy it.
So I've seen you around the conference today with your iPad asking people to sign it. What is that about? So
every time I go to a conference, I find that afterwards I catch up with the same people and they go, hey, I met up with you at RailsConf or this other conference. I'm like, maybe, but now with the signatures, my point of that is that I have a record of meeting up with that person, and then later on after the conference, like tonight, I can go through and say, oh, this person I met up with, and then if I have enough time, my plan is to go through and write up a short bio of these people as well, who I know I've met up with. So
that's a lot more personal than just keeping a plain text list of people I met and liked at RailsConf.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that clears that up. So you're involved with RailsCamp.
Yes, I am.
What's that about?
RailsCamp is an Australian event. Well, it began in Australia, but there's been ones now in America and New Zealand.
I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah. And what it started out as is just a group of friends getting together. It started out with 30 people in Australia getting together and drinking beer all weekend and hacking on whatever they felt like. So just as an escape for their day jobs, they would go away for a weekend to a remote location and drink and then work on whatever they felt like.
What could possibly go wrong there?
Nothing. Like we've had Juke that came out of it, which is a Rails jukebox.
Yeah.
We've in the second Rails camp they rebuilt Twitter.
Yeah.
Rebuilt Twitter. They've done a whole bunch of other stuff.
So you've got your own Twitter out there when you're in a remote location. You don't have access to the internet. You may not have cell phone service. So you're
really cut off from the world. Yeah.
But you start building up, your own Twitter and
just things that are irreplaceable for communicating. So at RailsCamp, we have people who are sometimes in separate rooms, and we want to communicate across those rooms rather than going across in the other room. We have our local Twitter, and that works really well for sharing.
Recreating the internet. For a small community.
Yeah.
What do you do about Ruby gems?
We have a local gem server. There's some guys before the camp, usually like 2 or 3 days before the camp, they clone every single Ruby gem in existence and put it on one box.
All of the Ruby gems?
You wouldn't believe how fast bundle install is on a local network. Bundle install done. It's like, wow. It's the fastest I've ever seen that thing happen.
That's awesome. So you do a lot of hacking while you're out there. I mean, even though you're disconnected from the internet.
There's still a lot of progress that goes on. There's people who've built sites like Carpets for Communities, who've built a complete Rails application for people who create carpets in Cambodia. Yeah. And to facilitate the sale of these carpets, they built that application at RailsCamp. Wow. Just over that weekend.
Remote location, add beer, remove internet, and you get something like that.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So you've also been working on the second edition of your book, Rails 3 in Action, right?
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's going pretty well. I've created a review system called Twist for it. It's an actual Rails application, so really kind of dog-fooding Rails, so to speak. And every night before bed, I try to go through all the review notes that I've left over from the reviews throughout the day. Yeah. And then I wake up in the morning, and there's just more review notes. The reviewers are just going completely hectic over it, just insane, which is good. The current progress of it, so there's not really a good indication of progress because I don't know how many notes the reviewer is going to leave total for the second edition, but my current personal review progress is 20% of the way through chapter 8, and there's 18 chapters in the book. So little over halfway still to go, I would say.
But that's great that you have so much feedback. It's going to be a much better book for that.
Yeah, yeah. We're also, I should also point out, we're ripping out Cucumber and replacing it with Capybara and RSpec, simplifying, because it didn't really click with people when to use RSpec and when to use Cucumber to test things. So now we're trying to define that more clearly. Okay, this is a unit test and this is an integration test. Right. And I'm slowing things down and explaining it a lot better in the second edition. Yeah, for a lot of new users that's not really obvious, and they'll spend a lot of time trying to think about what they should be testing and how, and what's RSpec, what's Cucumber. So yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to explain.
That's great. You do a pretty good job of bringing in new users to the community and helping them out, because oftentimes they have questions that we might think are stupid, but there are no stupid questions.
There are no stupid. There are no stupid questions.
Like like you said, you're on Stack Overflow all the time.
Yeah.
IRC. So
I really love that stuff because I wanted that when I was a new user. One of my first mistakes with Rails was creating a model called thread and trying to call find on that model. And due to how Rails autoloading, I know this now, due to how Rails autoloading works, when you call a model that's actually a standard library class, it'll load that standard library class. So it loaded thread, undefined method find, oh my god, why is it broken? Right.
Yeah, to a total noob, that's it's kind of tough to figure out. And don't feel bad, because I created a model called case the other day, and when I was accessing it, with
as a local
lower
variable?
case, local variable, it was that was fun until it occurred to me. So yeah, thanks for talking to us, Ryan.
No worries. Happy to help.